Hi, I'm attorney Larissa Davis, and today I want to talk to you about 5 things you should know if you are going to live in the United States, or if you just got here and you haven't been in the United States that long, because these are important things that will affect your day-to-day life that you might not be aware of. So I hope that this helps. Okay, number 1, most of the world uses the metric system, not in the United States. So when you are in the United States and you see signs on the road for how far distance another town or city is, it is in miles, not in kilometers. So to give you an idea of how big the United States is, if you want to go and travel to, let's say, Los Angeles, you want to go out to Hollywood in California, and after that, you want to travel to New York City on the other side of the country, on the East Coast from the West Coast. The distance between California, let's say Los Angeles, California, and New York City is about, I looked it up, 2,789 miles. So that comes out to about 4,488 kilometers. So for every 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. So if you're used to traveling and thinking of distance in kilometers, you'll have to be prepared to think of distance a little differently, because in the United States, we don't use the metric system. Okay, number 2, the weather. If you are coming from a really warm climate and you move to the United States and you live in a northern part of the United States, you might be surprised to find out that it can get very, very cold, snowing, freezing, below freezing. And so it's important to understand there are different climates. There are mountains, there are beaches, there are forests, there are plains, and there's swampland, all kinds of different terrain. I want to reference this map for you, which obviously you can look up on the internet for the United States. But generally on the West Coast, we have California over here. There are a lot of dry, warm, sunny places to live, and it can be very dry and desert, like in this area of the United States, which is the southwest part of the United States. But if you come up here, it's going to be more rainy, wet in Washington, Oregon, in that area. And then you can't tell in this map, but there are a really big chain of mountains crossing the southwest United States into Colorado, and that is the Rocky Mountains. They are pretty impressive if you ever have the chance to go there. It's an amazing, amazing place to go. Okay, so then you've got the southeast. This is a very warm climate as well, but it's very humid. Whereas this is dry and like desert, this is very humid, very tropical, and lots of trees, lots of plants, lots of bugs. As you move up north to the northeast, so New York City's over up in here, this can be very humid and hot as well, but then in the winters they get a lot of rain, sleet, and snow. And the same for this whole northern part of the United States. It gets very cold, but you're gonna have drier temperatures, so it can get really snowy, really freezing cold fast, and really dry. And again, there's some more mountains over into this part, the Appalachian Mountains. So you've got mountains, you've got beaches, beautiful beaches all along here. The Florida beaches are incredible. And you've got a lot of different places that you can live. This is Hawaii. This map is not to size. It's much further away from the California coast than it appears in this diagram. And then Alaska, which is much further north with its border to northern Canada. So that's the United States. You can look that up. There's weather channels for the whole world and all that sort of thing. But I want you to just think of those things, because if you're coming to live in the United States or you just started living here, there are a lot of options as far as different weather and climates and environments. And there's a lot of city environments, a lot of country environments. So we are a very diverse country when it comes to land as well as people. One thing you should know about the weather is the United States measures temperature in Fahrenheit. So the rest of the world pretty much uses the metric system and measures temperature in Celsius, not in the United States. So, okay, so we talked about number one, distance being measured in miles, not kilometers. US doesn't use the metric system. And number two, the weather, the climate across the United States you should be aware of, and that everything is, as far as temperature across the United States, it's measured in Fahrenheit, not Celsius. Number three, I want to talk to you about people. The population in the United States, as of the date of this recording, is over 331 million. We have all kinds of people from all different backgrounds all over the United States. The population is mixed, white, Black or African descent, Asian, Latino, Hispanic, Hawaiian natives, American Indians, and mixes of all different kinds of races. We have Middle Eastern. We also have various religions that people practice, and you can practice whatever your religion is in the United States, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, Jewish, whatever your faith is, there's a place for you to practice. There are all kinds of different religious centers and places for worship. So with that, another big thing in America is, of course, sports. Across the world, soccer is played, and it is typically called football. In the United States, football is different. It is not the game that you might call football in the other parts of the world. Football in America is very different, and it's huge. Whether it's college football or it's professional, it's really big. So is basketball, baseball, and other sports. But unlike the rest of the world, America loves American football. What you call football, we call soccer. So if you hear soccer, that's what Americans are referring to. Football to the rest of the world. We're just different and unique like that in America. So that's people. Number four, working in the United States. So can you work in the United States? Yes, only if you have what's called an employment authorization document, or EAD. It's also commonly referred to as your work permit. So once you get authorization from the US government to work, and this of course depends on what your status is, why you're in the United States, and a whole list of other factors. If you get that work permit, yes, then you can work in the United States. Most people work Monday through Friday, anywhere from 40 hours full-time to a lot more than that. Some people work part-time, and especially since COVID hit, a lot of people work from home. And the great thing about the United States is we have wonderful universities, and there are so many different areas to get into, whether it's electronics, medical, the sciences, teaching, just so much. There's so much out here. And whatever your industry is, if you're looking into working in the United States, there's a lot of information on the internet you can find about where you might want to go, what kind of companies you might want to work for, or maybe you want to start your own business. So that's the great thing about America, is we've got so many different types of jobs and careers and pathways you can take to get there. Okay, lastly, taxes. I want to talk to you about paying taxes in the United States when you are out purchasing things. So I have got a receipt for you for an example, because in other countries where you might pay for something exactly how it's labeled, you see it on the shelf, you pick it up, it says a price, that's the price you pay. In the United States, you pay a different amount when you get to the register. What do I mean by this? Okay, here's an example. I went to my local grocery store and I needed to buy some dog food for my puppy. Side note, Americans love their pets. You're gonna see a lot of dogs, cats, fish, rabbits, all kinds of pets. Americans love their dogs and their cats, their pets. They're just so in love with their pets, and I am a pet owner myself. You might see some people, I'd say more on the extreme side, doing things like pushing a dog in a stroller. That's common. You might see that in places like Los Angeles, for example, or they might be hunting dogs or whatever. But Americans love their pets, so that's just a side note for you. But when I went to the store, I had to pay the tax on what I bought. So you're going to see where the price for the bag of food was $6.79. But then when I got to the register and I had to pay, there was this tax. And so that added on. And so my final price was not the $6.79. It was $7.27. So if you've never been to the United States and you're from a country where you actually pay at the register the exact amount on the label in the store, then you might be surprised when you get to a register at the store or wherever you're at and you find out it's actually higher than what you were expecting, because that's where they add the tax on. So these are 5 things you should know about living in the United States. I love America. I love being American. I'm so thankful, so grateful that I was born here. And I love helping immigrants come here, whether they're here to visit or work temporarily, or you're interested in becoming a legal permanent resident and you want to get your green card and eventually become a U.S. citizen. I'm here to help. Just give me a call, 601-724-9255. I also use that phone number for texting and WhatsApp. You can also send me an email if you'd like. And I do have interpretation services, so if that's needed, it's not a problem. Give me a call. I'd be happy to help you. Have a great day.